Well, hello and welcome. And if you look at me and you think, gee, Joanne, you're looking a bit rough, you would be right. I've just woken up and got out of bed and I've just seen that the documents were posted. So I thought, what am I going to do but come up? So I haven't read them yet. We're going to read them together. We're going to go through them together and we're going to see, and you're going to get my full reaction. As I said, I've just woken up. I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're well. I'm still, let's just say I'm here. Yesterday officially finished at one school. I've got one more school to go. We're about to hit our summer break for Christmas. So we break over Christmas, New Year. So I am let me just show you what we are doing. So you're getting this live. First reactions. I'm okay. As I said, I've just woken up, so I look a bit rough. Like this was not going to be anything, but we'll see what happens. So we've got in here some new documents. There's a few in here. There's all of these, 9th to the 12th. So we had this one, hello Renal. So we've got the motion for summary judgment. So as I said, we're going to go through all of these. We're going to go through them step by step, and we're going to have a look at them, and you're going to get live, and you're going to get my live reaction, my live opinion. And we're going to do this step by step. Right. So, oops, that's not the tab that we wanted. This is the tab that we wanted. I thought I'd be clever, but it's not working. Hello, Renal. How are you? So, and we're in summer now, so as well. So this is our first document that was filed that we've got on the list. Hello, Cynthia. How are you? Okay, so this is a notice of motion and motion for summary judgment. So this is for 7M Films, Robert Shin, Miranda, and James Derrick, and Catherine versus Catherine Polston without a crystal ball. To the plaintiffs and their attorney. So this is filed by the defendants. Please take note that on the 6th of January 2025 at 9 a.m. at Wright County, defendants Catherine Mansky-Polston and without a crystal ball will bring the following motion before the judge. Defendants do hereby move for the court ordering for an order dismissing plaintiff's amended complaint pursuant to Minnesota. There is no material issues in dispute and defendants are entitled to judgment as a matter of law on all issues. So that's just the standard form that you put in to notice that there's been a court date set. It's interesting that their defense is that there's no materials in dispute and defendants are entitled to judgment as a matter of law. I'm interested to see what matters they're saying aren't in dispute. I think from what I can work out, they're still stating that they're talking truth. But in Australia, you have to generally show that. So now we're going to go to the memorandum. This is 69 pages long. Okay, 69 pages. Yes, I am awake early. I got notification, as I said, that I'd been checking all night. Actually, I didn't sleep very well. I've had a restless night, so I'm probably going to go back to sleep later. Okay, so this is 69 pages. So defendant's memorandum of law in support of motion for summary judgment. So whenever you file a motion, you actually have to file what is your evidence, okay? Why is it that you are claiming this? Now, sometimes this will incorporate affidavits, and I'm assuming that there's going to be an affidavit. There's going to be affidavits from people sworn under the penalty of perjury. Now, I briefly saw one earlier. I saw one on X earlier, and I noticed that what Katie Joy says with her mouth and what she's written in her affidavit differ. So let's have a look and see. Hello, Corey. How are you? Good? Yeah. All right. So it says defendants, Catherine Mansky-Polson. I want to know why her middle name is her maiden name. But anyway, Catherine Mansky-Polson, a.k.a. Katie Joy, and without a crystal ball, submit this memorandum in support of motion for their summary judgment. 2.5 years after this lawsuit was commenced, plaintiffs find themselves at the centre of a firestorm of media surrounding the Derrick's participation with the Shekinah Church and 7M Films. Plaintiffs will tell the court that Catherine Polson is the reason they are experiencing this media attention. However, while Polson might make a good scapegoat, plaintiffs have no one to blame for this media attention other than their own participation in a church that has been characterized by many individuals as a cult. Hang on a minute. They're back to talking about the church. The church hasn't sued them. And wasn't the whole thing about the 7M TikTok cult? Wasn't that? But now we're back to saying other than their own participation in a church that has been characterized by many individuals as a cult. How many is many? How many professionals? I could say anything's a cult. Polson was not the first person to report that Miranda Derrick had embroiled herself in the Shekinah Church. The first report was made by Derrick's family on Melanie Wilkins' Instagram page. Polson, like numerous other entertainment news outlets, picked up the story after Wilkins' video went viral, and Polson's coverage wasn't unique. Other publications to former Shekinah members and 7M dancers and uncovered information. Other publications spoke to Shekinah members and 7M dancers and uncovered information about Robert Shin. Polson's coverage may have been unflattering, but any reasonable observer needs to ask themselves why Polson is to be blamed for the plaintiff's bad press when the story was so viral that Netflix produced a documentary about it. Oh, it wasn't me, you Allah. It was everybody else. Could they say that they follow and sub to Without a Crystal Ball of Salt? Could we say yes? Yes. I mean, we have talked about the cult of Katie Joy. I mean, if you look at what you can and can't do in her when she's live, it's very cult-like. She tries to control the narrative, which is interesting because now they've embroiled the church. Now, as I said, I haven't seen everything, but one of my first things would be to say that you can't talk about the church because the church is not a party to the lawsuit. And if we're talking the only way, so the way that I would look at this is say, well, first of all, the church isn't party to the lawsuit. And if it's not party of the lawsuit, then you can't bring them in without making them a party to a lawsuit. So, yeah, and you might say, well, that's just semantics. Well, that's what we are. I mean, this is when you're dealing with legal cases, a lot of it is just based on semantics. Who can argue better than the other? It's very, the writing of it is very, well, you had my reaction. You heard my reaction. I laughed. I mean, I'm a bit shocked. I mean, usually legal documents are fact, evidence. There is a cynical answer to this question. Of course, Polson is an easy target because she is an independent journalist using non-traditional media that offers high engagement. She's not rich. She does not have insurance company coverage. I thought she said she had business insurance. She's not rich. She doesn't have insurance coverage that covers this sort of lawsuit. But if the plaintiffs are persistent enough, they can drive her out of business, conveying the message that reporting about the plaintiffs comes with a hefty price tag. Again, why is it? So to that, my argument is, why is it that she's the only one there's only a couple of them that have been sued. Why haven't they gone after all the media? Because what they're saying, so that reporting about the plaintiffs comes with a hefty price tag. So are they implying in this that only independent media is going to get criticized or sued? Anyway, plaintiffs' lawsuit, though, has reached its natural conclusion. Plaintiffs have failed to establish a scintilla of evidence that Polson's reporting on the Derrick, who are public figures, was motivated by actual malice. Without proof of actual malice, plaintiffs' claims must fail. But plaintiffs know this lawsuit fruitless. She makes $90,000 a month, but she's not rich, right? I know. Can I have that? Hang on. This sentence. But plaintiffs know this lawsuit fruitless. That sentence makes no sense. I guess there's some words missing out of there, and I don't want to put words in. Time and again, plaintiffs have been invited to provide proof that they damaged the defendant's statements. They were damaged by the defendant's statements. They have declined to do so. Why? Because providing tax returns, contracts, and updated financial reports seems like a poor investment on a lawsuit that is dead in the water. They did not have to provide it. The court did not grant that they had to be provided. It says plaintiffs fought hard for a broad protective order in this case that would protect them against public disclosure of this kind of information. Upon being granted a more limited protective order, plaintiffs identified virtually all documents as confidential, even those that could not conceivably be considered as containing private information. Well, that is their right. That was their right. Is she a bit salty? Is she a bit salty that that she sounds? It sounds like it sounds like a toddler having a tantrum here. But she says she makes millions on YouTube. She has. I mean, so again, what she says and what her documents have stated are two different things. But we have to go back to the discovery order. The court stated that that 7M was the only one that had to do tax returns and financials, not the individuals. But still, plaintiffs asked. Someone needs to attach the video where she says she made. Well, we need to look. Someone said that 7M has actually put it in as evidence in their response. So it'll be interesting. But still, plaintiffs asked them to permit them to proceed to trial. On what? Defendants do not even have the basic information necessary to defend against the plaintiff's infringement upon their First Amendment's rights. It is for these reasons defendants asked the court to grant their motion for summary judgment. So they're still going on the fact that they don't have all the dirt that they need, is the impression that I've got. So, statements of issues. So here are their issues. Remember, they said in the last document, insofar as there's no material issues in dispute, they're saying that there are no issues in dispute. Now we've got statement of issues. So technically, there should be no issues here. Plaintiff's defamation must be dismissed as a matter of law because defendant's statements were subject to qualified immunity, and plaintiffs have failed to establish a material issue of disputed fact that would permit a finding that the defendant acted with actual malice. Even she doesn't know when to shut her trap. Once online, always online, especially when you have people hold you accountable online. And that's why, and by the way, it looks like she has banned me on TikTok because I can't see her. And that's why she doesn't like the group of us, because we hold her for account. Even if the plaintiff's defamation claims were not subject to qualified privilege, statements defendants made were either true, opinion, subject to Editorial abstination doctrine. What? What's this? Or sourced from individuals and materials. What on earth is Did she write this? It requires that if a particular legal claim before a court requires the resolution of, the court must abstain from resolving issues, instead defer to religious entities' authority. What? Okay, whatever. Or sourced from individuals and materials that the defendant had the right to rely on. She writes it, well, it looks like she wrote it. We'll have a look. I'd be very interested to see the writing of how 7M's written it. Plaintiff's tortious interference with contract claim and intentional interference with prospective advantage claims must be dismissed because the plaintiff's conduct was fully protected under the First Amendment and justified under the refusal to deal doctrine. Right. So she's saying she is protected by the First Amendment to stop someone. Plaintiff's intentional infliction of emotional distress claim must be dismissed because plaintiffs have produced no evidence of emotional distress. Really? Miranda Derrick going on and saying that she's been followed in a car is not okay. Then they're saying the negligence claim per se must be dismissed because that statute has been deemed unconstitutional. Deceptive trade practices claim must be dismissed. They've failed to present evidence that defendants made representations subject to the statute. Plaintiff's failure to provide discovery ordered pursuant to court's order dated January 29 should result in dismissal of all claims. It's funny, though, that they've referred to the discovery order, but yet they've said that they didn't get the documents. Again, because plaintiff's substantiated claims must be dismissed, plaintiff's request for injunctive release must be dismissed. Okay, here's the documents comprising of the record. We've got amended summons complaint, the answer. So they've put in all this stuff in here. Spreadsheets, depositions. So deposition of Shin, Derrick, and Derrick are confidential. Order member. So then they've put in a whole lot of articles to try and prove correspondence. All the correspondence is confidential. And the apartment lease confidential. Okay, so here's a statement of undisputed facts. So Miranda, Derrick, and James Derrick are dancers and social media. So these are saying that these are the things that have been agreed upon that can't be disputed. Okay. Ooh. All right. So she's obviously admitting to writing some stuff. Okay. So let's have a look. Who have a large following. According to Derrick, Miss Derrick, in about February 2022, she had 1.2 million followers on Instagram and 721. Oh, is it the George Costanza thing? If I believe it, it can't be a lie. If I believe it's true, it can't be a lie. At present, Miss Derrick has 1.7 million Instagram followers and 2.2 million TikTok followers in the Fourth Moore Declaration. In about February 2022, Mr. Derrick had 1.8 million followers on Instagram and 4.9 on TikTok. He's got 1.7 on Instagram and 5.8 million on TikTok. So he's actually had a decline on Instagram. On or about February 24, Melanie Wilkin appeared with her parents and Dee Wilkin on an Instagram Live, hosted on Melanie's Instagram account. During that video, the Wilkins stated Melanie's sister, Miranda, had been involved with a religious group and had cut ties with her family. They said that Miranda had told them she would be not attending her grandfather's funeral and that they had been blocked by Miranda's socials expressed sadness that they didn't even know about Miranda's marriage. Melanie Wilkins stated, with respect to members of this church, someone is controlling their lives and they are victims of this. We're back to the church again. They described that the Miranda they had been in limited contact with during the preceding year was not the Miranda they knew prior to involvement with the church. We're back to the church again. I'm yet to, where's the TikTok aspect? Where's the 7M? A follower of Without a Crystal Ball, defendant Catherine Mansky-Polson's social media brand, informed Polson of the Wilkins video. On the 27th of February 2024, Polson began to report on the Wilkins video, plaintiff's hearing, and the Shekinah Church Polson declaration. Polson's primary outlet for reporting these events was her Instagram feed. Although she published a few reports on her YouTube channel, Polson's Instagram feed was not monetized at the time of reporting the issue. She earned the vast majority of her income through her YouTube videos. None of the statements claimed to be on the basis of the plaintiff's complaint were published on Polson's YouTube channel. No, she stayed off the YouTube channel. Before the Wilkins video, Polson never had any contact with any of the Wilkins. Well, see, this is the issue. And remember, the church is not party to the lawsuit. This is where, in my opinion, well, actually, it works in both favors, because every time 7M mentions the church, Katie Joy can talk about the fact that it's not a party to the lawsuit. She could apply to ask the court to add they could apply to ask the court to add the church to the lawsuit, and then they can talk about it interchangeably. And 7M can actually state, well, actually, this is the church that's being talked about. This is not 7M. It's 7M that's suing, not the church. Can you see how we've got these muddied waters? And if we really want to get down to semantics and really want to make things tough, we blur the lines. So one of the things that really needs to happen is that they need to be separated. And if they can't be separated, you can't sue one entity and not the other entity, or one entity that the judge would have to deem that they're one and the same. And I don't believe, and I've not seen anything where the judge has said that it's one of the same, because all the documentations I have seen have stated that they are separate entities. So we're still at the issue where the complaints are all to do with the church, not the management group. The religious organization that the Wilkins joined is called the Shekinah Church, which was founded by Robert Shin, who serves as pastor of the church. Based on its faith statement, it appears that the church is part of the new apostolic Reformation. The faith statement indicates that the church adheres to a fivefold ministry, which is a kind of a church that is divinely composed of apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. Traditional theology suggested that the apostle and the prophet functions had mostly disappeared, but an NAR seeks to resurrect these functions within the church. The apostles and prophets are divinely inspired to proclaim God's revelation, and this work is manifested in the Holy Spirit speaking through them. The faith statement also states that members are exalted to support the gospel with all means, which is defined as time, effort, money, and prayer. Both of these beliefs are common in New Apostolic Reformation churches. Another foundational privilege of the New Apostolic. Why is she giving us why have we got a theological thing? I don't know. I can't see the point of this. This is all the stuff you bring up. This is all the stuff you put in your stuff when you're, like, for me, I'd be applying to have this struck, because it's got nothing to do with the hello Sharon. This has nothing to do with 7M, in my opinion. All right. And just remember, I'm only a law student. I'm not the legal expert, okay? But we are talking about something that doesn't pertain to the lawsuit, in my opinion. Okay. Is the Seven Mountain Mandate, known as 7M, which is what she's trying to, this is how she needs to, this is where she's trying to link it in, which state that Christians should take multiple aspects, mountains of society, family, religion, education, media, arts, entertainment, business, and government. Some individuals have identified the new apostolic as a cult, and she's used some blog that someone's written. It is unclear whether Shin would identify the Shekinah Church as part of the new apostolic movement, although the church's messaging is consistent with the NAR. The Shekinah Church is not a plaintiff in this lawsuit. We have just wasted all of that time. According to Derek, they are no longer members of Shekinah Church, although they have made no public announcement to this effect. Oh no! Now we're going to get a definition of. Okay, so she's answered it. So. Well, generally, public figures do have lots of pictures about it. Shekinah Church is not a plaintiff in this lawsuit. Yet we've just spent a whole page and a bit talking about them. Okay, so apparently there was depositions. So they said that in their depositions. There are two main ways to define the word cult. In sociological terms, a cult is a group of people whose leaders exert undue pressure, control over their lives, who are involved in practices that may seem odd to the mainstream of society. In theological terms, a cult is a group that claims to be part of a specific religion, such as Christianity, but denies essential teachings of that religion. It is clear that the parties do share a common definition of the term cult. When asked about his definition of the cult, Shin stated that there is no standard definition. There is no official definition that is agreed upon by any reliable organization. Ms. Derrick stated that cult is culture. Mr. Derrick was unable to provide a definition. Robert Shin is also the founder and owner of 7M Films, an organization that purports to be a talent management company that represents stances in obtaining brand deals and paid appearances. The Derricks were represented by 7M until late last year. Shin claims that the company has no current clients. Now, interesting, if Shin's saying that they've got no current clients, and up until her reporting they had clients, would you then state that that possibly was tortious interference? So February 27, 2022, Paulson's first report about 7M, now we're back to 7M, occurred on February 27. The Post cites Melanie Wilkin and identifies Ms. Derrick's management company as plaintiff 7M Films. Paulson then explains that 7M Film was formed by plaintiff Robert Shin in 2021, and that Shin is also the founding organizer of the Shekinah Church. So here's her Instagram post. Yeah, so you were just thinking that, yeah, so if they've got if they had clients and they have no clients, it could be, you could reasonably then state that if they've got no clients, that would have been due to, there's your proof. So they said that there was no proof of any tortious interference. Well, if you've got clients and you don't have clients now, well, there's your tortious interference, right? So this was her post here that she wrote. 7M is a management company that manages a group of dancers. It's all over social media. The company was formed less than a year ago by Robert Shin. Shin is also the founding organizer of Shekinah Church based in Santa Ana, California. According to Melanie Wilkin, her sister was lured into a church that's taken control of her life. Miranda Derrick has allegedly cut off contact with everyone. The church has no website. So here, she again is talking about the church. The only connection between 7M and Shekinah Church is Robert Shin. But because he's a pastor and we know the management company's run by his son, does that make it one and the same? And here, so 7 is a multifaceted organization with both a film production company that develops and produces content of a talent management company that represents some of the top social media influencers in the world. So she's put that there, that 7M Films description. She's put in there about Isaiah Shin, and yet the only connection is that Robert Shin formed both. Okay. In this post, Paulson stated that the 7M in 7M Films likely, well, it doesn't say, she hasn't said likely, refers to 7 Mountain Mandate. In his deposition, Shin stated this was not true and that 7M referred to the 7th millennium. According to Shin, 7M refers to the creation story wherein God created the world in 7 days, and each day is interpreted as representing 1,000 years. Again, that's from the deposition. There is no evidence that 7M Films ever communicated this message in any public forum prior to the defendant's reporting. But do they have to? Later that same day, Paulson posted the receipts for her claim that 7M Films was connected to Shekinah Church through Robert Shin. So here's her thing. So her whole thing is, because he started both of them, then they have to be one and the same, even though the church hasn't sued her. Despite claims by Miranda and James Derrick, 7M Films is owned by Robert Shin, who also runs the non-profit church. This is where, in my opinion, we're getting to this grey area. Paulson's post concluded stating, using religion to control time, money, and resources of dancers that were vulnerable to abuse to their economic statements seemed predatory. But that's just my opinion. Paulson's words of echo the church's faith statement and are clearly couched as opinion. One of Paulson's hashtags on this post is cults, although there is no substantive application of the term cult to Shekinah or 7M Films. Why would you use a hashtag if you weren't aligning something to it? The next day, Paulson posted a video that shows Vic White and Aubrey Fisher stating that Chloe Shin, Robert Shin's daughter, chooses music for them. A second clip shows the behind the scenes showing the dancers filming multiple dance videos at a single location with several costume changes. Paulson characterizes these videos as highly produced and curated. This is the formula to go viral, to get views and followers. According to complaint, plaintiffs object to the fact that Paulson wrote the dancers managed by 7M Films don't pick their own music, sets, clothes, or designs. Well, they wouldn't, because I don't know. That's what a management company does, by the way. But again, she's highly curated, produced and curated. Well, that's what, wouldn't you expect a production company to do that? On the 1st of March, Paulson posted a video of Mr. Derrick and then Miranda Wilkin in 2019 and described Mr. Derrick's history with an extremist cult he belonged to prior to his involvement in Shekinah Church. According to Paulson's post, Mr. Derrick met Isaiah Shin in 2019 and began to collaborate. Therefore, Mr. Derrick was invited to weekly Bible studies and therefore he began introducing Miss Derrick to the group. Plaintiff's complaint seems to object to Paulson's editorial comments added to the post. B- is a victim of the Shins. He was used to lure Miranda in. They needed woman dancers. They've been grooming her for years. They've most likely made her believe that her family was abusive and that her friends would never understood. In her second post on March 1st, she plays a portion of the video by Mr. Derrick's friend, Samantha Long, and summarizes Miss Long's video as follows. She said that James Derrick, has changed dramatically since joining this group. She shared in her live, which I've cut for time, that he has become immersed in conspiracy theories. His political views have seemingly also altered to more conservative. She says he seems more detached from emotions, robotic, and doesn't seem to connect to anyone's pain anymore. Samantha said his marriage to Miranda was shocking because he never expressed a desire to get married soon. B- and Miranda didn't invite their friends, and many family members were left out of the wedding. Some family don't even know if the marriage is real. So this is what she's claiming is editorial. Samantha wants everyone to know this group is preying on vulnerable dancers who are struggling professionally. These dancers are being promised fame, money, high production levels, going viral as long as they sign with management. Well, that's what you sign for a management company for, by the way. Management is controlling everything, even the social media. So many don't know how to reach out to dancers. The social media managers are blocking any family members and friends from trying to reach out. So yes, the dancers who do respond to people sometimes, but the interactions are not the same. People who don't push back are likely to be pushed out. Check Samantha's video on her page. Thank you, Samantha, for speaking out. Plaintiff's complaint seemingly characterizes Miss Long's statements as Paulson's. Miss Long made very similar allegations to Rolling Stones. It's funny that it's interesting that in the footnote they've used the word allegations. She's not. But the issue that I have with a lot of her statements is that she doesn't talk about allegations. Shortly after the previous post, Postal went live on her Instagram feed and explained that she was beginning to receive evidence that made her concerned that human trafficking might be occurring. In this post, she spoke in great depth about various cults, included that to the extent that Miss Derrick and others were being isolated from their family and friends and their activities were being controlled, this would be consistent to a cult. Paulson's video is almost 25 minutes long, but plaintiffs have summarized what they believe to be the defamatory content as 7M is committing crimes, including human trafficking. 7M stopped Miranda Derrick from being by herself. 7M clients are all part of the Shin's church, which we know is not true. Robert Shin believes he gets prophecies from God. 7M cuts off all clients from speaking with people outside their organization. 7M is a cult like Jim Jones's cult. 7M monitors its clients when they are outside. 7M psychologically abuses its clients. 7M doesn't allow Miranda Derrick to drive. See post for specific allegations. The video does state, but it sounds like what's happening here is illegal, and the information I'm receiving here is making me feel like it's human trafficking. Paulson cites to reports by others who indicated that Miss Derrick was not allowed to be alone, and she had eyes on her at all times on the shoot. The post does state that Miss Derrick appeared to be driven everywhere. Is this how she's trying to justify it? In her second post, she included an excerpt of the same video. Plaintiffs allege the video is defamatory follows. 7M controls its clients, abnormal for management teams to manage their clients' social media accounts. 7M controls everything its clients do, so please see post for specific allegations. Hang on. There are lots of people out there, public figures, who don't manage their own social media. There's nothing abnormal about that. In the second live video on March 1, Paulson reads from a 2011 lawsuit brought by Lydia Chung against Robert Shin and the Shekinah Church and other entities controlled by Mr. Shin. And she alleges that defendants exerted undue influence, mind control, coercive persuasion, oppression, and other intimidating tactics in the name of opening up and being honest to God, to cause plaintiff Lydia Chung to reveal and to give them control over her personal financial information. More declaration. The lawsuit also defendants exerted uncontrolled influence, mind control, coercive persuasion, oppression, and other intimidating tactics so as to cause Chung to provide labour for defendants and to sever all relationships with family and friends. The lawsuit also claims that the defendants in the lawsuit watched, monitored, and controlled nearly every aspect of Ms. Chung's life. Chung's lawsuit sought $3.8 million for conversion and fraud. She also sought compensation for unpaid wages because she was not paid. After discussing the fact had been resolved possibly through settlement, Paulson stated that Kelly Wilkin was concerned that her daughter was not being paid. She further indicated that she was told by a choreographer friend of Aubrey Fisher that he was watched constantly while on set and was not permitted to talk to anyone on set. Wow, that's interesting, because when I do all my extras work, you're not allowed to talk on set you're there to do a job anyway. You talk offset. According to United States Department of Justice, human trafficking, also known as trafficking in persons, is a crime that involves compelling or coercing a person to provide labor or services to engage in commercial sex acts. The post clearly states she's not saying using the word human trafficking to refer to forced sexual labor. Plaintiff's complaint asks the court to determine what aspects of this post are defamatory using the following summary. 7M is destroying clients' lives. Please see posts for specific allegations. This video is more than an hour long. Besides the discussion above, Paulson says a lot of non-controversial things in this video. For example, she says the dancers are extremely talented and they have a right to earn a living and to be successful. She advises her audience that talent managers should not be controlling their personal finances. Interesting. Here's a point. Here's a really interesting point. In Australia, we have what's called the draft, where 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds get selected to play in the AFL, which is our Premier League. What they discovered is that some of these kids are getting multi-million-dollar contracts and they don't know how to deal with the money. And so the money is actually put into a trust for them. They have access, so they have to often, their manager will pay them an allowance from that amount. So that is overseen. If they need any extra money, they're given it, but they also have to attend financial management courses and classes because they know that to an 18-year-old, if you're getting paid $1 million for a year or $500,000 for sport, that money can disappear. And so they feel that the manager's part of the management job is to make sure that they learn how to be financially responsible. So interesting. Anyway, that is just something that they've taken, that they've now brought in, that a portion of the money has to be put aside. But all they have to do is ask, like if they've got birthday or Christmas or extra money, they can get extra money. They just have to ask for it. But it's about being financially responsible. But anyway, that's a segue. We've got a long way to go. There's lots here to do. On March 2, 2022, she posted another live video. Plaintiffs alleged that the following statements in the video are defamatory. 7M and Robert are predatory. Robert Shin's church is tricking girls into following them. 7M and Robert Shin are shaming people into joining the church. Miranda and Derek's marriage is fake, and they are lying about it. 7M doesn't promote its female clients. 7M is a cult. The Shins have been searching for people to prey on. 7M doesn't pay its dancers. Shirley Kim is always watching. 7M clients, see post for specific allegations. This is another wide-range conversation where Paulson discusses her cumulative report and answers questions from the chat. For example, her comments regarding the Derek's marriage are based on Paulson's discovery that other 7M dancers stated that they were married to each other while they were legally married to other individuals. Her inability to locate marriage records for the Derricks and the Wilkins report that they did not know if the Derricks were married. Later that day, she posted a static image of 7M dancers Gordon and Alexandra Watkins and Caesarea Willis and Kendra and Sanyan. In the same post stated that neither couple were legally married. Fake marriages, fake content, lies. A friend of Gordon tells us that Gordon, Alexandra, and Alexandra are not married. Ty-Dyes is still legally married to the mother of his 4-year-old son. It's not what she said, in my opinion. It's not what she says. It's the way that she says it. And this is poorly formatted, by the way. Plaintiff's summary of the defamation claim says that 7M clients are all falsely married to their spouses. That language appears nowhere in the post. So this post goes, Ty-Dyes is still legally married, or the couple may be dating, they're posing as a married couple on social media. This gives me hope that Miranda and James are not legally married. The two of them have provided inconsistent statements to friends legally. Miranda appears as Wilkin in everything I can find. But she's saying 7M clients are falsely married to their spouses. The language appears nowhere in, but it's implied. It's implied. It's implied. Plaintiffs complete a list of 3 posts on March 3, 2022 that they claim to be defamatory in the first post. Paulson discusses the fact that she's discovered that many Shekinah 7M film insiders have had name changes. She also discussed reports that Shekinah members must obtain permission from church leaders to do everyday tasks and are penalised if they do not submit to church leaders. They do not submit to the church leaders' dictates. Paulson traces this to a doctrinal emphasis on submitting to God through church leadership. All right. So here, where it says Shekinah members, 7M insiders have said that they've had name changes. How many Hollywood stars have the names that they were born with? I'm just asking a question. They're in LA. How many of the most famous people have a name that's different to had their name changed? It's a common Hollywood thing, from what I can work out. Well, I mean, that's a good point, Corey. She doesn't. Why does she need? She doesn't need to dig so deep. I mean, imagine if someone went in and looked up her marriage records, for example. Okay, so she says, so plaintiff summarizes this post. Every person at 7M has changed their names and has a different alias. 7M's clients cannot do anything without consulting Daniel Joseph, including buying T-shirts, seeing friends and family. Robert Shin tells his clients if they're not submitting to him, they are not submitting to God. If a client misses church, 7M takes away business opportunities from them. 7M clients have meetings 4 times a week and are forced to work their way into church. If you're pulled out of church, you cannot do jobs and your pay is taken away. Miranda Derrick missed a family funeral because 7M wouldn't pay her if she went. Robert Shin has access to all client bank accounts and brings it up in church. 7M doesn't pay their clients and their clients don't know how much they're being paid. Robert Shin is telling clients they must submit to him, and if they obey, they'll be blessed by God. Again, I've never seen any evidence that proves that. So this is that. This is her post from March 3, 2022. Okay, is the mentor of the 7M dancers. He's calling the shots, according to sources I've spoken to. Dancers are so tightly controlled that they cannot do anything without speaking to Daniel first. Daniel says no. Well, that's the other thing. It's the dancers that have missed out, not Robert. You're right. Again, and this occurs in elite sports as well. You know, you're on a strict regime, fitness, dietary, elite sports people. We know that when people are looking for a role, some actors have to put weight on, some have to take weight off. Everything's controlled for them. I think I would agree with you. She just pushes it too far. Plaintiff's complaints state that the following statements are true. Dancers' lives are so tightly controlled that they can't do anything without speaking to Daniel first. Daniel Joseph controls every move. David Joseph is not a party to this lawsuit. See, I told you that's a really good defense, by the way. Yeah. But 7M is, and so the fact that she says, yeah. In the third post, she reposts a comment by somebody. Isaiah Shin called out. I did notice that. Sarah Boone, maiden name, is also post Hello Bad Scouse. I did pick that up. I thought that was a very interesting coincidence, actually. Yes, I thought that was quite interesting. Okay, so it says Paulson's comments are the result of cumulative reporting on the control of dancers' social media posts, accounts, and accounts that dancers are being isolated from family and friends. Plaintiff's complaint interprets the post as being defamatory as follows. 7M is controlling their clients' social media, friends, family being blocked from contacting 7M's clients, management is isolating their clients and dictating their every move. Isaiah Shin is not party to the lawsuit. But Miranda is. Okay, has she been listening to me when I say they're not party? In the first two posts, right, 4 posts and posted video of Miss Derrick doing similar dances in many videos. Her commentary states, today we learned that dancers are worked constantly by the management. Due to the demands, the dancers are forced to recycle choreography from one video to next. This variation by Miranda is seen over and over. The pastor doesn't care as long as they make money, allegedly. Robert Shin also told them that God told them the magic to the algorithms for video. Plaintiffs state that this is defamatory as follows. The dancers are worked constantly by management. Robert Shin told its clients God told them the magic required for TikTok algorithms. So the second post is a longer piece of commentary. She states, Robert Shin is telling clients that Christ wants them to be a certain way. 7M is a cult. Robert Shin believes he's selected by God. Robert Shin is manipulative. 7M is underpaying their clients. 7M is exploiting their clients. Robert Shin is abusing clients of 7M. Now, if she said Shekinah Church is a cult, I would be more inclined to agree with her. 7M remembers the management company. And even by her definition of cult that she put up are the words, I don't believe it fits that. This summary does not encapsulate the essence of the video. In the video, Paulson provides commentary about cults and opines about what might happen as the story develops based on her cumulative reporting. She does state that Shin is manipulative. However, she also discusses the economics of dancing and social media. She opines that she believes the dancers are underpaid. She does not state 7M underpays its dancers. She's just admitted she does state that Shin's manipulative. She's admitted to that. Melanie and her boyfriend, let's stop making the Wilkins issue with B- about race. It's not about race, it's about a cult. Plaintiffs feel that this criticism constituted in defamation, summarizing the post to say 7M is a cult, and the cult is that they are preying on black dancers, exploiting them and convincing people don't like them for being black. The plaintiffs objected to the commentary in Paulson's next post. Plaintiffs summarized this post as being defamatory, stated Shin's ruined relationship between the Derricks and Miranda Derrick's family. After Miss Derrick posted, there was a, oh yes, that's right. There should be a 3. Oh yes, so there's a 3 for being black. So it says, this post was in response to a statement Mr. Derrick made on Instagram that seemed to suggest that the Wilkins were targeting him because of his race. If you remember rightly. All right. Paulson went live to discuss Miss Derrick's use of the Bible and to discuss cults in general. At the conclusion of the video, Paulson was asked about an address she had been given in a prior video that belongs to church. The commentator pointed out the address she gave is the home of a Catholic church. Paulson clarified that the address was a historical address associated with the Shekinah Church. Plaintiff summary states 7M's. So again, she's admitted to giving out an address. Right. It's a religious cult, tells people not to interact with 7M or their clients because they're a cult. Cult leaders commit crimes. 7M is exploiting their clients. See specific posts for allegations telling people street addresses associated with Robert Shin. Well, Paulson certainly doesn't deny that it is her opinion that Shekinah is a cult. I don't have any issues with that opinion. But that's not what the question is. She's got 7M is a religious cult. It's about 7M, Shekinah. And her reporting did in fact reveal evidence that 7M dancers have been isolated from their family and friends. Plaintiff's summary does not fairly represent the content of the video. For example, Paulson clarified that she wasn't accusing anyone of committing crimes. But see, she's not. Plaintiffs contend that Paulson uploaded a post. So again, we're seeing that statements that she's. It's really messy. I think the judge might. I don't know. She's needs a stiff drink. I need a stiff drink reading all of this. This is just. Plaintiffs contend that Paulson uploaded a video that said all of 7M and Robert Shin's clients are victims. Shin's are cult leaders. Robert Shin is a narcissistic person. Robert Shin asked his clients to live on his property. Robert Shin told somebody that God instructed him to teach young women about sex. Robert Shin has conditioned people to think, not to think. Robert Shin targets young women to induce them into his cult. Defendants have searched but been unable to locate the posts. Plaintiffs have declined to provide a copy of any post they may have archived. So, funnily, she's not been able to find that post from March 8, 2022. So, internet, do your stuff. I'm sure many people have that post around. Defendants, however, are able to locate a second post that the plaintiffs believe is evidence that Paulson admits to contacting LA Clippers to get them to cancel their contract with 7M and their clients. However, the post says no such thing. There is no such evidence that Paulson ever contacted LA Clippers. The post is only evidence that she contacted people who contacted the Clippers. But she put that music anyway. Plaintiffs contend that Paulson uploaded a post on March 9, 2022 that said Robert Shin's church is forcing the Derricks to live on the property owned by M. 7M is engaging in human trafficking. Defendants have searched but unable to locate the post. Plaintiffs have declined to provide a copy. They probably do have a copy. They're probably just waiting for it to be able to put it into evidence. Plaintiffs contend that on March 9, Paulson uploaded the post. They summarize it follows. Robert Shin is a cult leader. Robert Shin doesn't allow the clients to use their own car. Robert Shin is spying on their clients. In fact, the post shows Paulson reading an excerpt of a pleading filed by Lydia Chung in Catherine 2011 bankruptcy proceeding. Chung did make these allegations against Shin and Shekinah. Paulson did indicate the results of the multi-vehicle searches in the state of California, which showed no record of any vehicles owned by either James Derrick or Miranda Derrick registered in California. Lots of people don't own their own cars. Leasing cars at the moment is very popular. And work cars are also very popular. If they've got cars owned by the church, they won't be in their name. For example, okay, we're only at page 21 of 69, and we've still got like 5 or 6 documents to go. We'll be here most of the day, I think. So make sure that you get comfy. All right. In the second post of March 9, 2022, Paulson excerpts from the preceding video, which discusses made by Lydia Chung in a bankruptcy filing alleging that Shin gave her a massage in an improper place and captions cults and captions the post cults always come back to sex. Plaintiffs contend that this post says 7M is cult. Robert Shin sexually abuses women. Miranda is the most free. She has her own house and car. Wait on. I thought she said in a previous post that they don't have a car. So she says, Isaiah Shin says that Mallory Wilkin is most free because she has her own house and car. In fact, WACB located the home and that she and B-Dash share. The home is also home to Reno. Shirley Kim is the listing agent for the home. The home is a rental. They rent listed on a for rent listing says they pay over $3,000. The home is not their home. The church facilitated the rental and they moved in. There's no cars registered to Miranda. If she has a car, this is not in her name. It could be a lease through the church. And then she says that the home is, plaintiffs do not state how this post is defamatory. Plaintiffs did provide a lease to show Shirley Kim as a listed agent with a rent of $3,800. The lease is in the home of Miranda Wilkie, James Derrick, and Nick Reno. Paulson did not disclose the address of the home in her post. Wow, we should be grateful for that, eh? Plaintiffs again repeat their complaint that Paulson published private information about Shin's address, posting private information about Robert Shin's address, claiming the property is a cult compound. M is forcing clients to live in bad neighborhoods. Robert Shin is stealing money. So this again is this post. Paulson obtained this information through a public record search. Paulson did state that the dancers are housed in areas that are not safe, noting that there is a great disparity between Shin and his dancers. She editorialized. So what she's trying to state is that they're editorials. Not Robert's dream of keeping all the money the dancers make seems a reality. In the second entry for this post, in plaintiff's complaint, plaintiffs assert that Paulson defamed them by stating that the dancers are grouped in homes within the same area in the home owned by the church or managed by the church. On March 9th, 2022, Paulson posted a live video where she stated she would not be sharing the dancers' addresses. She opines that dancers are living in areas that are not particularly safe and they are living in groups. Therefore, she does give her opinion that Shekinah is a cult. I'm not objecting to that. I'm objecting to the 7M part. Plaintiff summary. Robert Shin directed Miranda Derrick to meet with her parents. 7M is a cult. Daniel Joseph of 7M controls all client decisions. Although the video does talk about access dancers might have with their family, it does not discuss Miranda Derrick meeting with her parents, except to say Miss Derrick posted a live video where she was meeting with her parents. Similarly, although the post does talk about Daniel Joseph, the video does not state that Daniel Joseph controls his client's decisions. After being advised that Miranda Derrick posted a live video where she was meeting her parents, Paulson posted a video about the meeting. And she's put it in. Robert Shin is in damage control mode. He's made Miranda meet her parents. How is that not defamatory? Plaintiffs contend this post is defamatory, stating dancers are living in tight control and not allowed to do anything without Daniel Joseph's permission. Plaintiffs contend that the fifth post is defamatory, identifying the post as being dated March 10th. Although the post was actually dated, it was a confidential court document covered by a protective order. Plaintiff did not provide a copy of this protective order in discovery. It is undisputed that Paulson was not party to any protective order in place in this 2011 lawsuit. But just because you don't have a protective order doesn't mean that you can share it. So she's calling it editorials. Plaintiff summarized the 6 posts, but why? I thought you had to put on that it was an editorial. I thought if you were going to do editorials, you actually had to write editorial on there. No, I'm just going to look something up. Oops, I just deleted everything. Hang on. I thought you had to, as I said, I may be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong. Oh, back to stage, and we want to go. I thought for editorials, you actually they had to be stated that it was either an opinion piece or an editorial. I didn't think you could just. Yeah. Imagine what that. Editorial. What are the rules for editorial? Most mainstream media have editorial guidelines. So anyway, so plaintiffs complained about the 7th post. Plaintiffs did not, again, it's about the protective order. Next, Paulson posted a letter written by Daniel Joseph in his capacity as Associate Pastor of Shekinah Church, in support of Shirley Kim's appointment to the board of Sunderland Neighbourhood Council. Joseph said, our ministry is centered around reaching the entertainment industry, using her cumulative reporting that A, there's substantial overlap between 7M and church leadership. 2, 7M likely stands for 7 Mountain Mandate, and 3, 7M and the church control aspects of the dancers' lives. Paulson opines 7M is not only trying to control the dancers, but wants to control the government. Plaintiffs contend without explanation that this post is defamatory. Paulson posted yet another video on March 9. The plaintiff summarized the following: 7M dancers exhibit numerous signs that they're being trafficked, signs of trafficking. So here's the post about trafficking. Paulson's concerns were based on her cumulative reporting and are clearly opinion. Really? Her comments are not directed to any particular dancer or any particular individual. No. 7M. So she's got 7M dancers exhibit numerous signs that they are being trafficked. Please do not be lured by any of these dancers to their church. How is that an opinion? Plaintiffs contend another post on March 9th, incorrectly identifying the date March 10th, was defamatory because it said Robert Shin is using dancers to further his real estate companies. The post shows dancers appearing in an ad for a real estate listing for realtors, who upon information belief were employed by a company controlled by Shin. She says, told you that Robert Shin is using dancers to further his real estate companies. Plaintiffs also contend that this is defamatory insofar as in a sworn deposition, Robert Shin admitted that he used millions of dollars in church donations to further his business and his own fortune. Paulson's information was sourced to the Chung lawsuit. Plaintiffs declined to provide a copy of his deposition and discovery. However, the Chung lawsuit clearly makes these allegations. And you've got to remember that they are allegations. They're not fact. They are allegations. Anything in the lawsuit is alleged. Then we've got Robert Shin's propositions women for inappropriate contact. Robert Shin curses people who don't give him money. Robert Shin demands his clients submit to him. Robert Shin accesses his clients' bank accounts. Paulson's post can be sourced to the Chung and Lee lawsuits under the claims referred to 7M clients, although many of these themes can be found in the contemporaneous publications and Dancing for the Devil. Again, they're big allegations. And she's saying that it's, and again, what were the outcomes of those lawsuits? Because, again, they're just allegations. Paulson posted some receipts for the prior post, when she posted the next set of pleadings, which describes Shin's depositions. Plaintiffs contend that this post is a publication of documents subject to protective order. Plaintiff did not provide a copy of this protective order. It is undisputed that Paulson was not a party to any protective order. Plaintiffs is also contend that the post is defamatory, insofar as Shin admitted to setting up a shell company, Mission 2020, in order to form other companies underneath the organization. He would start a business DBA and only incorporate after it became profitable. The business generated limited income, but rather were used to funnel donations from the church into Robert Shin. As payroll, bonuses, interest, the fact was the money he received via these businesses were donations made by Lydia Chung and her trust. Shin took out loans from Shekinah Church for these businesses to pay himself via a payroll, bonuses, and interest. He's using the church shell non-profits to defraud people and enrich himself by funding donations. The post was clearly sourced in the Chung lawsuit and is a fair but unflattering reading of the set of facts forthwith. Plaintiffs contain, so again about the protective order. However, when correcting the post for formatting errors, the link appears to be broken. Defendants have searched and have not been able to locate this post. Plaintiffs have declined to provide an archived copy. In another post dated March the 11th, Paulson discusses Isaiah Shin, Robert Shin's son. Defendants have not listed Isaiah Shin as an employee of 7M, but he's a member of Shekinah Church. The Shekinah Church is not party here too. The actual post states, it's putting God first, second, and third while holding dancers captive for a cult for me. Plaintiffs assert that this post is objectionable only because it says holding dancers captive. The subject of the post is not any plaintiff. Plaintiffs contend that on March 13, Paulson defamed them by posting, as of today, the church is conducting commercial business from the property out of an ordinance and zoning. Plaintiffs sourced the post from. However, even after correcting for formatting, defendants have not been able to locate the post. So there's a lot of posts that have gone missing. 2 days later, plaintiffs contend that Paulson made a post that stated Robert Shin and his team are controlling every move. The post, and again, however, even after correcting for formatting errors, defendants have not been able to locate this post. So this about dancers not paid for their brands, they don't run their social media, and that the Shins are paying them a percentage. They're working long hours, the Shins are paying them a percentage after they are paid. Then the dancers are required to pay them rent, tithe, and church and donate to Robert Shin. And the fact that, anyway, like it's normal to pay a management fee, and you get what comes. You get everything minus the management fee. But she can't find that post. So a post from March 16th, Robert Shin and his team are controlling every move the dancers make. They control their time, money, forcing them to live on the property. They're not allowed to answer. So again, here is the post again. To the extent that this is a fair summary of the post is based upon cumulative reporting and sourced to a former dancer. They are things that were published in contemporary publications and subsequent publications and Dancing for the Devil. Oh, we're going to get The Devil Made Me Do It. On March 17, reported on an interview with Lydia Chung. Are these women at risk of sexual exploitation by Robert Shin? And she said yes. Plaintiffs contend this was defamatory. Chung's lawsuit alleges that Shin exploited other church members. So again, we got that. And then she says were filed in the Chung lawsuit. Now, here's my issue. If the lawsuit was dismissed and there was no basis found, should you be able to use someone's allegations against them? Later that day, she posted about reports she'd received indicating MAC Cosmetics did not have a hello, number one fan, and did not intend to enter one in the future. Plaintiffs believe that this is evidence the plaintiff contacted MAC. There's no evidence that the plaintiff contacted MAC. Well, interestingly, if this is her, if she's contacted MAC, here's the thing, it's so vague, we don't know who's contacted MAC, but again, she shared it. Later that day, she reported on the Chung lawsuit. Again, she's going on about that. The actual post provides important context to her reporting. For those concerned about that my reporting is going too far, I want to be clear, I'm only reporting a fraction of what I'm learning. What is going on at Shekinah Church can only be described as evil. This isn't about Miranda. So it's all of this. This is her post. Post was based on her cumulative reporting, including Lydia Chung's lawsuit. And reports from former dancers, plaintiff's description of this post removes important context. Okay. Later that day, she said, followers under the guise of religion, fortune. What the complaint doesn't state is that this was the headline of a much longer post that was sourced from Lydia Chung and her lawsuit. The theme was also reported in Dancing for the Devil. Now, interestingly, the Dancing for the Devil theme is based on a lot of the evidence that KJ's lost. complaint, Paulson stated her on 10th Miranda Derrick and his wife, the Women of God, is also her manager. They dictate her whole schedule. The complaint directs to an showing the video of Miss Derrick. The video shows Miss Derrick explaining terms that she presented to her sister for continuing her partnership with her sister. The relevant portion of the post states, in fact, it is true that 7M acted as her managers and they managed her career. To the extent that Miss Paulson stated that they dictate her whole life, the post is based on cumulative reporting that members of Shekinah are subject to extreme control. This appears to be that in the allegations in the Chung lawsuit and also featured in Dancing with the Devil. The church is not a party. You're saying that 7M, right, is dictating her life, her career. Yes, they're allowed to dictate her career. But you're talking about Shekinah Church here. And look at this, trafficking, forced labor, cults. She's refused to acknowledge that her own manager is her pastor and his wife is the woman of God. Paulson provided additional commentary on this video in subsequent posts on that day. In fact, the post cites a former Shekinah member, Lydia Chung. But remember, Lydia Chung was not part of 7M. Neither were the Lee sisters, by the way. So this is where it starts to get interesting. Plaintiffs also state that this post is defamatory because it states Robert and Hannah continued to force Miranda to respond to claims while having her accuse her family of doing what they are seemingly doing to her. And again, they're saying this opinion is based on her cumulative reporting that there are many current and former members of the Shekinah Church who have been subjected to cult-like controls. Cult-like doesn't mean so. Doesn't make it true. Okay, despite the fact this post is directly sourced from Daily Mail's interpretation of the Wilkins video, I've got a headache. Like, this is giving me a headache. This interchangeable, this thing is just, because remember, we've read a couple of times, not party to lawsuit, not party to lawsuit, and then call to stop, call it. And they're saying plaintiffs attribute these statements to Paulson and incorrectly summarize the post as a call to stop people from becoming clients of 7M. It says the plaintiffs attribute these statements to Paulson. She says, with persistence and coverage, the story is reaching the globe. Daily Mail has picked up the story. Let's keep going. Let's go. It's time for the world to know what's happening and to stop others from joining this group. So they're saying that the plaintiffs attribute those statements to Paulson and incorrectly summarize the post as a call to stop people from becoming clients of 7M or working with them, and that Miranda Derrick has been kidnapped by 7M. Well, she has clearly stated that people shouldn't work with them. So then there's the plaintiffs alleged in a post about the 10-10-10. The fact the post cumulative reporting of Paulson and the Chung lawsuit, Melanie Lee, Kylie Douglas, and other dancers identified in Paulson's declaration. Some of these allegations conveyed in other publications and Dancing for the Devil. Hello, Liz. Then we've got the allegations about the bank accounts. I'm just really doing a quick summary now because we've been online for over an hour now, and again, cumulative reporting and is reflected in Dancing for the Devil with the Devil. Robert Shin barely works and lives off the lives works off his cult followers. And when the Shins drive a Bentley, Robert Shin barely works and lives off the work of his cult followers. Wonder who Robert took the money off to buy the Bentley. Isn't stealing a sin? The post shows a photograph of Shin driving a Bentley credited to Jeff Rayner, the US Sun. The remainder of the post was based on cumulative reporting. On a separate post, Plaintiffs alleged Paulson stated Robert Shin stole the money he used to buy his vehicle. As with the prior allegations, Paulson's reporting was based on cumulative reporting and her opinion to the extent that the plaintiff has taken money from individuals, as alleged by Ms. Chung, that would constitute theft. But there was one lawsuit where he had to pay back wages, but in another lawsuit, there was no. Yeah, it's annoying me at the moment. Plaintiffs contend that subsequent post was defamatory. Pastors using undue influence not only to be mentor and dictator of lives, but of. So there's the post. Paulson's commentary is based on cumulative reporting and her opinion. Right, it sounds like her opinion, right? So what she's essentially saying is that a pastor cannot have another job outside of being a pastor. Do you know there's lots of part-time pastors that have to do other jobs? There's lots of pastors that have to work multiple jobs to make a living, you know. I'm just saying. All right. So then we've got to the waterboarded post. So let's have a look at this. That was waterboarded. Plaintiffs contend. Plaintiffs identify the post as being dated March 23, remove the attribution to Ms. Kim, and allege that this statement is there's no. Hi, Bo. Sorry if you didn't get noticed. There's been no response to that. Oh, this is about the defendants. So this is the Waco and Jonestown statement. Remember that one? Defendants have searched but could not find such posts at the address provided in the complaint or in the archives produced in connection with this matter. Plaintiffs have declined an archived copy. And again, plaintiffs contend on March 23, she called on supporters to harass sponsor Forever 21. Defendants have searched but could not find a post. I think people are going to have to start reposting all of these alleged deleted, all these missing Instagram posts. They all start to need to reappear and get back into circulation. So then about the Dough Fasting app, this post is sourced to former members who have discussed their experiences with food and diet in connection with the Shekinah Church. It does not state that Robert Shin forces his clients not to eat. The actual post is dated 29 and contains a much nuanced discussion about the diet. These themes are also contained in the California labor lawsuit. And that one attached as plaintiffs contend that later the same day, another post described Miss Derek's paid sponsorship of Dough Fasting app and claimed that Derek is a victim of the cult. Hello, Nikki. And that 7M's clients are under mind control. Defendants have searched but could find no posts. Interesting how they did not address the waterboarded claim. Did not even say that, other than to say that the allegation was attributed to Shirley Kim. So ATT have cut ties with 7M. Again, she's saying this is true reporting. Plaintiffs allege that Paulson made a number of posts between March 31 and April 1, but failed to provide a link or state that the posts were removed. Defendants have searched its archives and been unable to locate any posts matching these allegations. They've declined to provide copies. On April 2, Paulson posted a video questioning why Miss Derek stated that she wanted to see her parents, but was then was sent to New Orleans for a 7M appearance. She editorialized. So remember, they're editorials, people. that she believed that this was about Shin's desire to isolate Mr. Derek from her family. Plaintiffs do not say how this is defamatory. Plaintiffs summarise the post to say no Miranda parents are coming. 7M suddenly sends Miranda and James on a trip. Plaintiffs do not say how this is defamatory. Yay, I'm bitter. Yes. I'm sorry. And then it says later that day, plaintiffs alleged that Postal stated, in my discovery, my legal team can subpoena all their bank accounts, their taxes, the management contracts, the pay stubs, all social media, email accounts assigned to any member. Not to mention this would expose all activity that is not legal. Management has the right to take a commission. This is true. Managers do not house their talent or have talent attend their church. How much the dancers tithe in, donating to church and pay money to the man of God. Real management does not smear campaigns against reporters. Why hasn't 7M gone after Rolling Stone, The Sun, Daily Mail, Daily Beast, New York Post, Squawka, Daily Mail TV, Insider, New York Magazine, or any other form of film? When there is overwhelming evidence that there is something not right happening, it generally means that something isn't happening. Human trafficking takes many forms, and this could or could not be. I'm not the police or the FBI, but I can certainly share my opinion based on what I find. Freedom of religion is a constitutional right, and so is freedom of speech. This is not a dictatorship. This is not North Korea. This is the USA, where journalists have the freedom of the press. Having accounts like this will not help any legal cases you seek to carry out. You'll only prove my counterclaims. Maybe you should delete these pages since you wouldn't want them used against you for court. It says, in fact, this was response to a post plaintiffs made on a sock puppet social media account they run called Without a Crystal Ball or Clue. A sock puppet account. Sock puppet account. So now she's saying that Without a Crystal Ball or Clue is 7M. In fact, this was a response to a post plaintiffs made on a sock puppet. I was laughing at the sock puppet. On a sock puppet social media account they run called Without a Crystal Ball or Clue. Paulson has a right to respond to these allegations. She clearly labels her comments as opinion based on her cumulative reporting. Later that day, she posted a statement by James Derek in which he stated, we got married, joined the management company that helped me become successful in a matter of months. I started to get paid for endorsements and that dancers like me never had before. I've been able to pay off my debts, buy a new car and move into a house. And the management manages my books and helps me with taxes and finances. She correctly opined that this statement shows 7M manages his finances, taxes, bookings and schedules. Nevertheless, plaintiff summarized this post as saying 7M controls the client's bank accounts. Now remember, this is 7M. This is the management company. The allegations about all of this control is about the church. I've got a headache. Yeah, I know, sock puppet, you called. I just laughed how they used the word sock puppet account. Sock puppet. Why not just sock account? Sock puppet. Crank me up. Anyway, now you might understand why Miranda isn't talking. Hannah controls every move. The description leaves out important context. The post actually shows a screenshot from an email from Hannah Shin that asks that she be blind copied on non-work emails, even those to other SCI members. Oh, the sock puppet account. So this is, again, is this a real email? How do I, here's the thing, she shared it, right? But the skeptic in me says, how is that a real email? I don't know. In the third post, Paulson returns a copy of Mr. Shin's Bentley. She posted, Robert, tell the people where you got the money for this Bentley. WIOCB is aware of where the money came from, but would like 7M to share where the money came from and which member's money was used to buy this Bentley. Paulson based her opinion on cumulative reporting, including the various lawsuits which allege Mr. Shin finances his lifestyle on the back of Shekinah church members. Oh, we're back to the church members again, not the 7M people. You love the sock puppet. I know, it's pretty cute. Oh, so sock puppet. Oh, hello, Ginger. Sock puppet. Oh, that's going to be like, that's just going to be like, that's the highlight for me at the moment. Oh, you already did, Ralph. That's right. I have to say I've needed a good laugh, so it's good to actually laugh again. In the fourth post, Ms. Paulson posted that the order, decision, or award of Labour Commission in the lawsuit, Miss Lee said she'd lived with other church members. Dancers, hello, KJ's eyebrows. Dancers are still living in church community housing. They still share with their lives for both work and personally. There's absolutely no separation for the talent from church and work. They live with their co-workers and church members. Plaintiffs contend that this statement was defamatory. However, it is undisputed that at the time that this post was written, the Derricks were living in a home procured through the services of a real estate agent owned by Shin with other Shekinah 7M dancers, Nick Reno, with whom they often collaborate. So again, Paulson posted a screenshot from an account referred to as Culty Suck. Plaintiffs remove the attribution and state that the following material is objectionable. Plaintiffs cite another post they claim was removed. Oh, yes, it says, so to that, right? Right? It says, four members agree the only way is to cut off money and find a way Robert shouldn't be held criminally responsible. They assert that the money made is benefiting Robert and Shekinah. This statement was completely true and repeated in media reports and dancing for the devil. Interestingly, now, here's the thing. If we can prove that dancing for the devil, with the devil, to the devil, whatever it is, devil, got their information from Katie Joy, and Katie Joy's deems to be defamatory, there's an even bigger problem. Plaintiffs cite another post that was removed about zoning permits. It says that defendants have searched and could not find. Plaintiffs allege that a post where Paulson says getting sued is like a badge of honour is somehow objectable. Paulson's post was a response to plaintiff's sock puppet account, making horrible allegations about her. The post states Katie Joy is an expert manipulator and ruthless persecutor of the church. She is obsessed and has a spirit that is unholy. Think Blair Witch Pot. She has not actually provided proof that it is her. She has just... Plaintiffs do not allege that Paulson's statement that the account reference is affiliated with 7M is defamatory. But hasn't, without any ball or clue, been around a lot longer than the lawsuit? That Paulson's statement is getting sued is like a badge of honor at this point is objectionable, possibly because they incorrectly believe that it can be used to establish malice. Paulson say, I've never contacted Miranda or James. It is undisputed that Paulson has never contacted Miranda or James. Moreover, the post was in the context of responding to allegations that Paulson was a stalker. She's entitled to respond to such allegations. So Vic White was allegedly stealing money. He's not a party, so they're saying the fact that Vic White's not a party to a lawsuit. She makes no claims the plaintiffs were involved in any way. And that alleges a video posted by one of the 7M's clients as a recruiting tool for 7M, and it says the summary lacks important context. What is there for context? Post does not use the term cult except in a hashtag. Moreover, Concrete's video is clearly an effort to recruit dancers to something that is undisputed, that Concrete was managed by 7M on the date of this post. Oh, we're getting to other media coverage. Oh, finally, plaintiffs started posts from April 6. Robert Shin, next door neighbours are moving. I'm hearing that people have been driving by a lot, trying to spot Robert. I'm assuming this could be pretty disruptive to neighbours. Plaintiffs do not say how this post is objectionable. It's clearly opinion. Paulson does not list the address of either Shin or his neighbours. And the report asks no one to do anything but just stay focused. On March 20, 2020, the outline provided a long article by the byline of Ali Hardy that discovers the new Pentecostal movement. The article discusses the Seven Mountain Mandate and is referred to as 7M. It also stated that it was a manifesto for evangelical Christians to conquer what proponents see the 7 key facets of life: education, religion, family, business, government, entertainment, and media. The article further states that the authority to do so comes from Isaiah 2, a reference that appears frequently on websites and social media accounts of those associated with Shekinah Church and 7M Films. Prior to this lawsuit, other media companies reported on the allegations made by the Wilkins sisters. Articles appeared in, and she's listed them all there. The first article about Miss Derrick in a traditional entertainment was on the 28th of February 2022 on the now defunct Gawker website, the internet. Now, so that's on February 22nd, but she was reporting way back on the 22nd of February. In the article, writer Claire Crucerello reports on the Wilkins video from February 24th, 24th, as alleging that Miss Derrick had been held hostage. He did win it, didn't he? Yeah. The article refers to 7M as an offshoot of a Pentecostal sect that believes that something called the Seven Mountain Mandate, and links to the outline story that describes the biblical basis for 7M doctrine. On the 10th of March, Daily Mail published an article. Among relevant reporting in the article, the Wilkins had not seen Miss Derrick for a year. The Wilkins said Derrick had been held hostage by 7M. Miss Derrick had not returned home for the grandfather's funeral. When they saw Miss Derrick when they went to LA to visit her, the daughter had stood in front of them. It was totally different. That 7M Films doubles as the Shekinah religious sect that people believe is a cult. 7M Films is based on the Seven Mountain Mandate. According to Melanie, the group wants to control members' lives, times, and finances. And then Daily Beast, in the article, that also links 7M Films to Shekinah Church and 7M Films to Robert Shin. And notes that Shin owns several other companies. Now, remember, you can be part of the Shekinah Church and not part of 7M. And I think that's a really big distinction that they did not put into the documentary. The next day, the Daily Mail posted an article. They've taken Miranda from us, desperate parents. Melanie claims Miranda has no control. March 19, Rolling Stone. Subsequent events, there have been several publications. Several dancers have left 7M and Shekinah Church, including Kylie Douglas, Aubrey Fisher, among others. These dancers have corroborated many of the claims made by Paulson. In May 2023, Wright and his wife, various companies controlled by Mr. Shin, including RCP Financial, as well as several bloggers who they believe were making defamatory claims about them, conspired to cancel Mr. Shin's church. Upon the lawsuit being filed, Ms. Lee, joined by Marilyn Gonzalez, Kylie Douglas, Kalia Gray, Aubrey Fisher, filed a cross-complaint alleging many of the same things Ms. Paulson reported on. Finally, on May 29th, Netflix premiered Dancing for the Devil, featuring several dancers, the Wilkins and other families of 7M, as Lydia Chung, Melanie Lee, and Alicia Lee, and various industry dancers. But Chung and the Lee sisters were not dancers. The films makes virtually identical claims made by Paulson. They were not dancers. The Lees were not part of 7M. They were part of the real estate section. You can't say that Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult, and then use people that are obviously part of the church. All right. Prior to initiating her coverage after Wilkins posted a video, Paulson did not know any of the plaintiffs. At the time the statements identified in the amended complaint, Paulson's Instagram account was not monetized. I'd like to know that. There's no evidence Paulson was aware of any Instagram content she published in her complaint was false. Now, plaintiffs were ordered to produce tax returns and other financial documents in court orders dated 29th of January 2024. Plaintiffs failed to produce said tax returns. Plaintiffs were notified of this deficiency on June 6. Plaintiffs filed to remedy. Plaintiffs were reminded they only needed to provide 7M's tax returns. Plaintiffs provided no documentation dated later than August 5. Plaintiffs were advised they had an obligation to. Summary judgment is appropriate where there is no genuine issue of material fact and a party is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. Any party with a claim against them may move for summary judgment in favour, in full or part. A motion for summary judgment shall be granted when pleadings, depositions, answers to interrogatories, and admissions on file, together with affidavits, show that there is no genuine issue of material fact. Well, actually, I saw that she's admitted to making some statements which could be deemed defamatory, by the way. Just put it out there. A genuine issue of material fact must be established. The moving party has established the prima facie case entitles it to burden to the non-moving reasons for trial. Okay. So this is just all the law stuff. So this is why they're saying, so you've got to prove that the defamatory statement is communicated to someone other than the plaintiff, the statement is false, and the statement tends to harm the plaintiff's reputation and to lower the plaintiff in the estimation of the community. That is the state, that's where we're. So they're using New York Times and Sullivan. And so now they're using publisher protections. So they're going with the journalistic here. Constitutional protection does not turn upon the truth. Minnesota adopted holdings and consequences, agreeing that state laws of libel that fail to provide safeguards for freedom of speech of the press is guaranteed by. So they're using the press line. So first, public officials and other public figures are subject to rigorous attack. Second, privilege of defamation attack is applicable to public figures, even though such figures are not public officials. Of actual malice has been given with definition in terms of what it is not. So now they're talking about qualified privilege here, where a statement is made upon a proper occasion from a proper motive must be based on reasonable or probable cause. So what they're saying is, if it is defamatory, there was no malice about it. In such cases, that were made with malice. So that's the law. Such inquiry is not appropriate in a case of a defendant reporting on public figures. So here's the issue that she's got. So they're arguing that they're public figures. I would say the first group includes rare public. I would say yes, they are. All plaintiffs were public figures and the reporting was legitimate public concern. I would argue that Robert Shin isn't a public figure because there's limited. So they're saying a limited purpose. If a public controversy existed, the figure assumed and the allegedly defamatory. And so our public figures, the Shins was at the Derek's manager. So they're saying an involuntary public figure. This is an exceedingly rare classification. However, reporting on the Derek's involvement in Shekinah Church would naturally lead to allegations contained in Lydia Chung and Jung Hee Lee's lawsuits, since those lawsuits are characterized Shekinah as exhibiting cult-like control over its members. It's highly improbable that reporting on the Shekinah Church and 7Ms could be accomplished without publishing materials related to its personal owner. Hello, Vedanta. All right. It is under Minnesota law, it's irrelevant whether Paulson is a journalist. Although defendants have pressed for recognition of Paulson as a journalist in connection with arguments under Minnesota's free throw law. The application of privilege does not require a finding that Paulson is a journalist. Hey! Although defendants have pressed for recognition that Paulson is a journalist, didn't she tell everybody that the court found her to be a journalist? And yet here we are, we have it in a court document that they're saying they have pressed for recognition, that the court has not given recognition of her being a journalist. So courts determine whether speech is of public or private concern, whether a matter one of public or private concern is based on the totality of circumstances. Courts should consider content, form, and context of speech. In this case, the speech was related to celebrities, the Derricks, who were subject to controversy based upon public statements. Hello, Laura. And that had become members of a church whose pastor was also the owner of their management company. All of Paulson's posts contained hashtags that indicated her coverage were related to cults or cult awareness. Her coverage was clearly geared towards securing the exit of the Derricks and other dancers from what the Wilkins and others viewed as a cult. Prior to Paulson's coverage of the Wilkins video, she had no personal connection with the Wilkins, the Derricks, 7Ms, Robert Shin, Shekinah. She had never posted about any of these individuals or entities. Her prior reporting was about cults, polygamy, and influencer culture. What? Influencer culture? What? Paulson frequently related her coverage on play to general discussions about cults and systems of control, finding the lack of relationship between speaker and the Westboro Baptist Church. Hello, Ruth. Headed away against the finding that the speaker's references to matters of public concern was intended to mask concerns over a private matter. Next, the court must examine where of defendant's speech. Defendant's speech occurred on a WOACB public Instagram account, which had over 100,000 followers and far more views. The Supreme Court has also noted that social media acts as a modern public square, which allows individuals with an internet connection to become a town crier with a voice that resonates further than they could from any soapbox. Haven't we referred to her as a town crier? Such public ways in favour of concluding that Paulson's speech involved a matter of public concern. My other question would be, is it a matter of public concern when there's only about 40 people involved? You know, like we know that there was about 30 or 40 people that attended the church. Does that make it a public concern? Finally, the court must examine the broader context of the defendant's speech. In this case, there was significant news coverage about the Wilkins video. Major news outlets such as Daily Mail, blah, 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 picked up the story, and ultimately there was even a Netflix documentary about the matters contained in the Wilkins video and Paulson's coverage. Courts have held that media coverage is a good indication of public interest. Yes, but all of this, the lawsuit occurred before the Netflix documentary as well. Must remember that. Remember that? The Netflix documentary has come after the lawsuit. In short, whether Paulson was a traditional journalist or not, she was reporting on a matter of public concern and interest. The plaintiffs must be held to the same standard as would apply to traditional journalists in determining whether her public reporting and statements were subject to a qualified privilege. Defendants have failed to present evidence of malice, so now they're talking about malice. All of Paulson's reporting was based on reports of others, public documents such as documents filed or produced in litigation involving Shin. Then they're talking about plaintiffs might argue that Paulson's statements were made with reckless disregard for the truth. So reckless disregard for it is subjective, of course. Requires that a defendant makes a statement while subjectively believing that the statement is probably false. That's the definition. Defendant's statements were either true opinion about individual organizations not part of this lawsuit or non-reputational. Defendants stand by their reporting. However, if the court finds that all or some of the defendant's statements were not protected by the qualified privileged, defendants address in broad strokes the substantive elements of defamation. Plaintiffs have cited dozens of posts by defendants, many containing multiple statements they claim to be defamatory. To the extent possible, defendants have attempted to identify substantive defenses in the statement of facts herein. However, A few categories may warrant more particular attention. Oh, generally speaking, statements that a religion or group constitute occults have not been determined to be defamatory. Okay, and then there's this one. This statement, whether as pertains to doctrinal matters as to whether the church is a cult, how it collects tithes. But now we're going back to Shekinah Church. 7M doesn't collect tithes. Plaintiffs may argue that statements would be protected as to Shekinah Church would not be protected as to 7M films. However, it was Paulson's opinion that the unity of interest between the leadership and membership of Shekinah Church and 7M films rendered the organizationals interchangeable for the purposes of discussing doctrine. It is notable that the Shekinah Church is not a plaintiff herein. As a result, defendants had no opportunity to determine whether statements made by Shekinah were true. Again, doctrinal statements she made about 7M could be deemed out of bound for the courts as well. Hello? Oh, and then we're talking about, she goes here, talks about, Aubrey Fisher stayed in Dancing Devil. He had to get permission to purchase a pair of shoes or a pack of gum. Tortious interference. Again, refusal to deal. So for tortious interference, they must show the existence of a contract, knowledge of a contract by the alleged wrongdoer, intentional procurement of the contract's breach, absence of justification, and damages caused by the breach. Because there's no evidence that defenders contacted any organization that contracts or might contract with plaintiffs, the claim must be dismissed. Interestingly, though, she may have got other people to do it, but unless you can prove that, that's okay. So in the summaries, so these are the complaints that they made. So this, for consumer, this should not scare anyone who has ever gone on Twitter to tell others not to go to Chick-fil-A or Hobby Lobby. Interesting how she's picked those. Because it was defendants engaged in protected conduct, suggesting that her readers contact those who do business with plaintiffs to advise them of the controversy and potentially to tell businesses that if they choose to continue their relationship with plaintiffs, they will refuse to deal. In fact, refusing to deal is a valid justification for contacting businesses under restatement of torts. So, and then there's a whole thing in here about refusal to deal. Affliction of Minnesota, elements of it. Yeah, this one I think is going to be hard to prove. I agree. Plaintiffs have abandoned this claim rather than provide. Yes, so they abandoned it. Yep. So, I don't know why they even had to put it if that's been taken out. Defend negligence. That a violation of this confers, however, the criminal defamation statute would be declared unconstitutional, right? Trade practices. Theoretically, this would permit a party to recover for unfair trade practices in the event that the court were to conclude that the statement was defamatory. However, this theory of recovery cannot impose liability where defamation does not lie, because in the event either statement is a true opinion, non-disparaging, or constitutionally protected. Okay. And they're still on about discovery. 7M has alleged damages of $4 million from the loss of dancers who quit. Mr. Derek, and they're saying, brought their motion to compel. Defendants brought their motion to compel to obtain the necessary to the to hire a damages expert that could review financial statements, compare them, but the court didn't give them to you. Here, plaintiff was ordered to provide copies of tax returns and financial statements. 7M had to. I want to know whether she handed hers over. Okay, so this was signed by Jennifer Moore. So that's essentially that big one. Okay, it's gone so long. I got kicked out of the case search. So that's That's her document. So what do you think about her arguments? So she's saying that they're either editorials, they were opinion, or they're true. It started on the 5th of the 4th, or sorry, the 5th of April, 2022. Okay. So we've just done the memorandum. That was 69 pages. And there's a whole pile of stuff that's under protection, obviously. And then we've got that. That's a so that's a memorandum. We've got an affidavit of attorney. We've got another document. So I'll just show you what we've got here, what we can download. So we've got all of these. So we've just done the 69 pages here, the memorandum. Okay. We're working our way through here. There's these documents here that have been protected. And then we've got these. I mean, this one's 91 pages. I might have to come back later. There's another one, 83. All right. So this is an affidavit of attorney. This is her 4th declaration. Will we have a rage live after this? I don't know. She's admitted that she's got no insurance, Michelle. So this is the thing that really, everything that she has, what she says out of her mouth and what is written in court documents are seemingly contradicting each other. So Jennifer Moore. I'm a licensed attorney to practice in Minnesota. I'm one of the attorneys on record for Catherine Mansky-Paulson. As indicated to the court, obtaining information related has been exceedingly difficult. For example, in connection with our motion to compel, I advised the court I was having difficulty in locating the posts unsustainably linked to the amended complaint. I asked the plaintiff to provide copies of any archive posts, but their counsel refused. This problem might have been avoided if plaintiffs had provided defendants with a copy of the amended summons and complaint that contained hyperlinks. However, plaintiffs were not provided. Oh, geez, this is a whinge post. All she's doing is whinging, in my opinion. Moreover, the court's website did not provide of the copy. However, plaintiffs were not provided with a hyperlink copy. Moreover, the court's website did not provide a copy of the complaint that could be used to access the link. In order to locate linked material, it was necessary for me to download a copy of the amended summons and complaint from the court's website. The original document contained signature errors, so I had to print it in PDF format in order to flatten it. Once flattened, it was necessary for me to enter links as they appeared in the flattened document, because most of the links contained formatting errors in this process. I need to manually verify the link identified by the plaintiffs was correct. Why didn't she just go to... I had to... So essentially, she's spent time. She's just racked up all of KJ's bills. This required me to remove extraneous characters, remove extra spaces, and underscores. Doing this, I was able to locate most of the plaintiff's complaint. I could not locate all the posts, even after I performed CWORD. This process took more than 20 hours of work. That would not have been necessary if the plaintiffs had provided defendants with an accurate hyperlinked document. This is on top of the work I've already performed. All right, so then we've got Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2, Exhibit 3, Exhibit 5, Exhibit 6. So, but see, 2, 3, 4 are confidential. So we've got 7. All right, so we've got, on this day, I looked up her followers. So here, yeah. So a lease agreement. So she's got a lease agreement there. She's got an email from, and then she's got the follower account. She looked up the follower account. And then there are all the articles. So there you go. Wow, that was insightful. Wasn't it? Oh, dear me. That was very insightful. That's not fair. Not fair. As I said, I'm sure all that she needed to do, all Jennifer Moore had to do was ask the internet. Right, so then we've got here, these are her complaint link and then links. So here she is. This is her spreadsheet that she's done against all the complaints. Here's my question, though. When they first filed it, why didn't they download them then and do it and save them and record them? Because most of us went through the links and looked at them. So that's the exhibit, okay? So that's okay. So that's that one. So it's 12 pages, right? The next one's 20 pages. Okay, so we've got this one. This is exhibit 5. Remember, not all the exhibits remain. So this is the Chung lawsuit. They're using as evidence. Now, some courts, even civil, will not allow you to use civil other cases against the same person in lawsuit. Generally, it's going to be based on the previous history in Australia only refers to damages claims. So when you talk about damages, you can't use. So this is 6, exhibit 6. So this is the Labor Commission one. Now this is the one is this the judgment? See, only judgments count. Yeah, order decision. Yeah. So this is the one that he did lose to him, but that's okay. He paid it. I believe it was paid. So here's the other thing: if it's been paid, who now? What was that one? That was, how many pages is that one? 20. That's 12. Okay. Right, we've got 91 pages here. I still can't get over the term sock puppet. Seriously, sock puppet. Really? Sock puppet. Sock puppet, seriously. Oh, that's just a joke. Sock puppet. Oh, I'm going to laugh at that for ages, I think. Sock puppet. That's my favorite. That's my favorite out of this whole thing at the moment. All right, this is her. So this is exhibit 7, which is all of the other lawsuit. All 91 pages has been submitted. The poor little judgy has to sit and read all of this stuff. So that's the lease agreement there. That's right, exhibit A. So that's, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Usually, hey, look, I'm a law student, and there's all this stuff that I just look at and go, why didn't you do that? Didn't you do that? And have them all downloaded. I mean, that's the first thing that we would do. So this is what they want. This is their proposed order. Okay. So remember, they always do a proposed order, what they want, and the judge denies it, and upon filings record defendant's motion is granted and plaintiff's amended complaint is dismissed with prejudice, or other motions parties are denied. So that's what they want. That's what they want the judge to stamp. Okay. Look, in my opinion, I've still got questions as to whether or not there's still lots of questions to be answered. I'm not the judge, or I'm not. So now we've got the other side. So we've got plaintiff's no motion of summary judgment again. So we've got the declaration of plaintiff and exhibits. All right. So both parties are filing the same document. One of them is going to win. One of them is going to lose. Okay. So where did I get up to? And it's quite interesting because Amber's is only 18 pages. Okay. So let's have a look at the writing difference. Let's have a look at how different this is, okay? So we've seen the other side, so let's have a look. So this is support of there is no facts, yeah? Undisputed facts. So when there's undisputed facts, it means that they agree on this, okay? So that James Derrick's a performer, Miranda Derrick's a performer, yep. Derrick's met in 2016, began to remote 2019, they were married in 2020. Robert Shin trained a medical doctor, 7 years, became a minister. He's also the CEO of 7M. In addition to he is a minister of the Shekinah Church at the Shekinah Church. Entertainment company, which was formed by Mr. Shin in 2020. Management company for the Derricks from August 2020 until 2023. 7M performed the duties of management company for the Derricks by negotiating contracts, managing relationships between the Derricks and companies looking for brand collaborations. They handled payment management by accepting payment from the brand, cutting a check for the amount minus the management costs of the Derricks. The Derricks were in control of and responsible for publishing brand content to their social media pages. The Derricks were further responsible for all stylistic choices, not associated to the brand. So they could, which is interesting because these are saying these are undisputed facts. I don't know. I think Katie's disputed some of them, in my opinion, but anyway, we'll see. All right. Oh dear. Defendant Katie Jo Paulson is a self-proclaimed investigative reporter. She's a self-proclaimed investigative reporter who owns and operates Without a Crystal Ball LLC, where she posts digital content across multiple social media platforms. Oh, that's right. It gets better. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and X from Twitter. Defendant does not have a degree in journalism or any formal training regarding her claims of being an investigative reporter. That apparently came from her deposition. The extent of the defendant's journalistic training involves some general writing, classes in college, and reading some online articles on journalistic ethics. And again, she said that in her deposition. That was from her deposition. Involves some general writing classes in college, reading online articles on journalistic ethics from the deposition. Defendant monetizes her social media content. Defendant receives revenue for ads on her YouTube videos and Meta for Facebook and Instagram posts. posting about the plaintiffs on February 27, stating that Miss Derrick was lured into a church, and that 7M is using religion to control her and other performance time, money, and resources. On 28th, she said that 7M don't pick their own music. Oh boy, that was funny. On March 2nd, defendant posted that plaintiffs were involved in a cult and compared them to Jim Jones and R. Kelly. Oh dear. Oh. Didn't you need that laugh though? I know I did. Oh, that topped the sock puppet claim. All right. Ugh. Defendant said Mr. Shin has been accused by multiple women of various sexual allegations. Again, in her deposition, she's posted that Mr. Shin through 7M does not let Miranda Derrick use her own vehicle or go without public depositions. And she posted that the Derricks are not legally married. Defendant posted that members of Shekinah Church told her that the Derricks were instructed to be married by Mr. Shin, but were unable to provide any evidence or name anyone that told her that information prior to her reporting. That's from her depositions. Wow. All right. On March 3, defendants stated that 7M does not promote its female clients, but unable to provide evidence of this. Deposition. Defendant posted 7M's lives are so tightly controlled and blocking their family from contacting them. Defendant posted that 7M controls their bank account. No one from 7M has had access to Miss Derrick's bank account, nor has anyone from 7M asked her to sign back blank checks. Miranda Derrick's deposition. Defendant said on March 3, 2022, the LA Clippers cancelled their contract with 7M. Again, her deposition. Defendant commented on Mr. Derrick's Instagram that she contacted the Clippers and told them not to take a job with 7M from his deposition. Affidavit of Amber J. Stavitt, support of plaintiff's motion support for Derrick Exhibit 1. Defendant stated on March 5, 2022, that her views on her social media content regarding plaintiffs were doing very well. On March 6, 2022, she reposted Mr. Derrick's TikTok video stating that she's safe, she's not in the cult, she's married and doing great despite the lies being spread about her online. Nonetheless, on March 7, 2022, defendant posted that 7M is a religious cult and tells followers not to interact with 7M. On March 8, defendant posted Mr. Shin is a cult leader and that his clients are victims. He asks clients to live on his property and he claims God instructed him to teach women about sex. On March 9, defendant again posts that 7M and Mr. Shin is a cult leader who sexually abuses women and engages in human trafficking. Oh, by the way, apparently Meta is reporting major outages across Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So someone won't be able to do what someone won't be able to be on Instagram. On March the 10th, a cease and desist letter was sent to the defendant by plaintiff's counsel that requested that she stop putting false statements on the plaintiffs on social media. She continued to do it. She considers herself a public figure, but prior to posting the plaintiffs, she was rather anonymous. There we go. That was from her deposition. On 16th, 2022, March 16th, defendant posted Sutter Homes Wines does not partner with the Derrick. Moreover, she posted that Mr. Shin was hurting the dancers and controls the Derrick's housing, money, and time without having any evidence to back up her false claim. Defendant claims that the post in the Derrick's housing. Again, her depositions. I'd love to hear the deposition. Defendant posted that MAC Cosmetics was not partnered with 7M. On March 24, defendant reposted a video for a brand deal with Forever 21, stating internet do your thing, encouraging her followers to harass them and get their brands cancelled. Again, she deposition. On March 30, 2022, defendant was forcing Miss Derrick too fast because it's one of his teachings when she got a brand deal to do dough fasting. She also stated in her Instagram story that Mr. Shin and Mr. Derrick abandoned their children after only speaking with his ex-wife and not contacting plaintiff for comment. Defendant states she emailed and commented on plaintiff's posts and no one ever responded, but could not produce, hello Mama Celeste, but could not produce copies of correspondence and later admitted that she did not have contact with the plaintiffs prior to posting about them on social media. She's admitted it. In her deposition, defendant has posted on Instagram Live about the plaintiffs while drinking wine, but claims she's never made a social media post while drinking alcohol. Her deposition, defendant stated that she wants to see Mr. Shin criminally accountable. Ms. Derrick has lost deals with various brands such as Sutter Home Wine, the athletic company Stronger, the Keto app, after defendants' false statements were posted on social media. That came from Derrick's deposition. Ms. Derrick, last brand collaboration was July 2024. Mr. Derrick has an increase in negative comments on his social media after defendants' false and defamatory statements. Mr. Derrick currently has, so it goes in the the followers and stuff. It says defendant's income has increased significantly since she began posting about the plaintiffs. Defendant claims her posts are not motivated by financial interests, and she stands by her reporting even after being sued, and stating that being sued is a badge of honor. Deposition. So we've got the law again. All right, so that's the same. So defamation. Again, they've got the same arguments. They're giving us the same arguments. Okay. So first, the plaintiffs have presented overwhelming evidence that the defendant made numerous false and defamatory statements about them across several social media platforms. For example, defendant posts that 7M dancers' lives are so tightly controlled and 7M is blocking their family from contacting them and controls their bank accounts. No one from 7M has ever had access to Ms. Derrick's bank account, nor do they block people from contacting their family. And that was from the Miranda's deposition and Shin's deposition. Defendant falsely accused 7M and Mr. Shin of human trafficking, despite being unable to provide any factual evidence to support these baseless claims. Defendant also falsely accused 7M and Mr. Shin of human trafficking. Moreover, published that the Derricks were not legally married to each other. The Derricks were in fact legally married to each other. Both the Derricks have said that. Defendant has set forth no facts to support the claim that the Derricks were not legally married. Therefore, defendant published false statements about the plaintiffs. The statement that you publish can be false. If just because someone's told you something doesn't mean make it true either. So, it can still be false. Defendants made false statements to third parties. Were made by so they're talking about how it came about, how it was used through all the social media platforms. Defendants' platforms reaches hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of followers. As defendants' posts on social media were not just made to third parties, but to millions of third parties. False statements made by the defendant with malice or reckless disregard. Given the extreme nature of these statements, which includes statements of fact regarding criminal conduct, the absence of credible evidence to support them, the defendant's failure to check her sources or to provide any, in some cases, defendant's statements were made with actual malice. That's an interesting fact. So where there's been all the criminal contact, where they've said that Shin has to be held criminally responsible, for example, they're arguing that would mean that that's malice. Defendant's false statements furthered her own financial interest by monetizing the web traffics from this sensational false claim. Further, the defendant has stated that she wants to see Mr. Shin held criminally accountable. Defendants have, without a doubt, acted with reckless disregard for the truth in her posts regarding plaintiff and utilised the web traffic from those statements to financially enrich herself. Defendants' actions and failure to properly secure sources for those statements made and do basic fact-checking meets the standard of actual malice. Interesting. Plaintiffs are not contending they are public figures, merely that without going into a factual dispute about whether they are public figures or not, the defendant's actions still meet the heightened burden if they were public figures. Okay. So what they're saying is that they're saying take away the argument of whether they're public figures or not. They've met the burden of actual malice. What do you think? Do you think that Well, and don't forget, what they haven't put in there is that she said she promised the Wilkins that she'd get Miranda back. That would be a case of actual malice, if you remember that she made a promise to the Wilkins. Do you remember her saying that? So again, about have caused significant harm. The director relies on their social media presence for income. That they've lost followers, they've lost brand deals and collaborations. So there's that one. The defamation per se. So here so again, that's all the legal stuff. Here, the defendant accused plaintiffs of involvement of a cult, specifically targeting their relationship with Mr. Shin and 7M, association that is falsely portrayed as criminal and involving moral turpitude, including human trafficking and sexual abuse. Defendant called Mr. Shin a serial rapist. These statements imply criminal activity by suggesting the plaintiffs were engaged in cult associated with criminal behaviour, including abuse, fraud, and exploitation. These are statements that in their natural meaning and context would be understood by the public as accusations of crime. Specifically, where Ms. Paulson states that 7M is engaged in fraud, human trafficking and abuse, where the statements of criminal activity made by defendants are false, the defamation per se standard is satisfied. The false accusations made by the defendant were not just an attack on plaintiff's character, they were intended to convey the notion that the plaintiffs are involved in criminal conduct. This is sufficient to meet the definition of defamation per se. Now, have you seen the completely different writing style? Can you see that the writing style is a lot different? In addition to accusing plaintiffs of criminal conduct, the defamatory statements made by defendant also directly affected plaintiffs' professional reputation in business and trade. Damaged Mr. Shin, their professional reputation, including their work with 7M, which directly impacted their ability to conduct business. They were subjected to being shunned and avoided by potential business partners, colleagues, and others in the industry. The effect on the business relationship was so severe that it ensured their ability to conduct their professional activities, leading to financial loss, reputational harm, and the closing of 7M Films. So they've had to close the company. So 7M is no longer in business, as the last answer to take off 7M from their social media was in May 2024. So do you think that if a business has had to close, well, it's 16 pages rather than it's 18 pages rather than 69 pages. So the fact that 7M is no longer in existence, do you think that is enough to say that there's been tortious interference? Plaintiffs have met their burden of proof with respect to defamation per se, tortious interference of contract. So again, we've got the legal stuff. The contract is between third party here. The first requirement. So they had contracts with Forever 21, LA, MacCon. She knew these contracts between plaintiffs, as evidenced by the fact she frequently referenced these third parties in her social media posts. She intentionally procured a breach of contract. She continues to use social media to direct her followers to direct third parties to cancel those contracts with plaintiffs. The defendant admits in her posts on how plaintiffs are a cult engaged in criminal activity and should be sent to jail, has specifically directed her followers to do their thing to the plaintiffs and those associated with them. Defendant has further admitted to encouraging her people to boycott plaintiffs and their social media accounts. That came from her deposition. There is no justification for defendants procuring a breach of contract. So they're saying there's no justification for that. Bye-bye BMW. Plaintiffs suffered damages as a result. So if the business is closed, that's damages. I don't know. Finally, as a direct and proximate result of defendants' false and defamatory posts, plaintiffs have suffered, but for the defendants' false statements that plaintiffs were involved in nefarious activities, they would have continued to execute on existing contracts and procure new contracts, resisting in monetary gain for plaintiffs. As cited above, plaintiffs have lost income as a result of defendants' behaviour, and 7M Films has ceased to exist as a company. due to the target harassment of defendants. Okay, then we've got commercial defamation, so about the fact that they've lost trade, they've lost, so it's again that negligence per se, they're saying that all their elements have been met, and they've listed the statutes there, and deceptive trade practices. It says here, defendant engaged in deceptive trade practices by making numerous statements disparaging plaintiffs and their business, as well as disparaging the businesses plaintiffs by false or misleading representation of facts while in the course of defendant's business, vocation, or occupation. For example, defendant posts that 7M was a religious cult, grooming people for sexual reasons, engaged in human trafficking, controls the dancers' lives and bank accounts. These are all false claims and therefore rise to the level of deceptive trade practices pursuant to Minnesota law. And then tortious interference with prospective advantage. So it says here, the element is satisfied as plaintiffs had reasonable expectation of economic advantage from prospective clients. They were engaged in the business of monetizing social media with their own name and brand. That she had an expectation of economic advantage because she was talking about them, and that her behavior was tortious. And that she must have known, and then the next one is that she must have known what she was doing and the damages. So there we go. So they're saying they're entitled to it. Then we've got this one. So that was 8 pages. Then we've got depositions, and then so they've got here so she's put all of those in there. These are all captions of her live. Have they got one of her drinking? But you know what? The sad thing is, do you know the only person that's going to be so it's this was 5, I think. This is all the social media posts. Her social media posts. What's really sad is that the only one that's going to be disadvantaged out of this is her son if she loses everything. He's the one that's going to suffer, not her. So just like the defendants put theirs in, this is what they want. So it's called proposed. See, it's got proposed. And the judge will just cross out proposed and make an order and sign it and date it. That they want the summary judgment is granted and in favor. Okay. So this next one is 83 pages, but this is exhibits. These are just exhibits. Oh, this is still the Moore Declaration. Okay. Gee. Oh, yeah, this is Amber Moore's declarations here. And it's just all the news, all the articles by the looks of it. All right. Okay. 83 pages. What does she need 83 pages for? All right. Well, I didn't. Amber didn't put the word. She didn't use the word. I'm very disappointed in Amber. She didn't fit the word sock puppet in there. I wanted to see sock puppet. Okay, so again, this is still all of Moore's affidavits here. This is the judgment, another judgment that she's using. This is a case that she's referred to, Bad Rista versus whatever. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. But as I said, I feel it's, in my opinion, it'll be her son that will, in my opinion, will be her son that will suffer, unfortunately. And that's the thing that I find to be sad. And she'll say, don't talk about my son. Well, we're just, yeah. So the rest are just exhibits for more. But we've got, yeah, so the confidential one, which is fine. So anyway, that's where we're at. So we've got Katie Joy saying, an archival consultant. I thought I saw it. She said that. She was an archival consultant. And I'll just have another, make sure I haven't missed anything here. Oh, what's that one? Is that another one? There's a lot of documents here. So anyway, this is now all the evidence that's gone in for the judge. The judge now has to sit down and have a read of all of that and try and work out what on earth to do. Again, there are some good points. I mean, the fact that Katie says that the church and 7M are interchangeable gives me some cause for concern, because I think because I've not seen any proof from her. I've seen no evidence to show that they are one and the same. Just because or that you're a CEO or something, has to do that. Look at all of that. So anyway, that's where we are now. So thank you for joining me. I am going to leave it there. I might get on later, but look, I've been on for 2.5 hours. I hope I've sort of broken it down. I've read most of it. I did summarize it slightly because some of it was legal stuff, and 69 pages was a lot to read. I have to tell you though, I did find Amber's a lot easier to read. But you tell me what you, I mean, those of you that are on replay, yes, 7M is a business that has to pay taxes, and the church is tax exempt, correct? So you've got that issue as well. And don't forget, we know that it was 7M that had to submit tax returns. And did you notice Amber didn't even mention any of that? So she's stuck, it was but yeah, the David from Jennifer talking about, yeah, I mean, Michelle, it was probably really good. I mean, there was the sock puppet comment, and then about the fact that she's a journalist with experience, and that she read some articles on journalism. So that sort of made me feel a little bit better. Yeah, and yet she calls me insane. Crazy. And she has blocked me on TikTok too, by the way, which I'm devastated about. No. I want to do that live where she calls me out. I want to do that. But I have to tell you, her calling me insane and everything sort of hit me for 6, particularly with my other stuff. Yeah. Were you? Good. Yeah. Yeah, over 300 pages of filings by KJ. It's funny. So someone's just put, whoever Lazy Reporter is actually correct. And I think Lazy Reporters summarized it pretty well. It says 300 pages court filings for us. It's going to take me a hot minute to go through it all. I've started, but KJ's attorney really needs to review her filings before she files them. Basically, KJ is saying that she was being misunderstood. She didn't defame anyway. KJ is saying that she's the victim because 7M didn't like what she posted, if she did post it. A lot of what she posted was just opinion or what she was told or read, which is what she said. That's essentially the crux of it. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, because I was having some mental health issues at the time, it really hit me really hard. Oh yeah, and without any crystal balls, has said Miss Balls to say KJ's defense is and the other thing is, I'm interested in the evidence of this sock puppet account. And Miss Ball says, KJ's defense is cumulative reporting, and other people told me it's true, so it must be true. It's not my fault, and if you get the context wrong, you're a moron. She's saying the plaintiff grabbed the sock account. I see no evidence. Yes, she's saying that she didn't set up this without balls or clues sock account. And the thing is, I'm sure that was around a lot longer than this has. But yeah, the defenses are very interesting. Look, I'm doing all right. I'm feeling a bit yuck at the moment. But I jumped online when I saw that they'd come, and essentially you've got my first reaction because I haven't read them. I had not read them until I sat down to read them with you all. So it was very interesting. I just love also how, that they're talking about they couldn't find the posts, and like it's 7M's fault because they wouldn't give them the posts. Oh dear. See, I've got the sock puppet. I've got the sock puppet icon for the members. Have got sock puppets. So, I'm one step ahead of KJ. Anyway, I think it's 10:08. It's 10 o'clock in the morning here. So I think I jumped on about 7 o'clock or something really early. So I'm going to go off and start my day. I am a bit tanned. I got some sun over the weekend because we are in summer. I got a little bit too much sun. And anyway, I will catch you all later. Thank you for joining me. If you could hit like and subscribe, that would be great. Don't forget you can become a member. And follow along. I'm essentially now got one more class, one more school to do tomorrow, and then I'm officially on holidays for 6 weeks. So we'll see. Hopefully I can be on a little bit more and my mental health does better, but I know that you guys are great for it. So thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.